Hello, this is the second video lecture about using GitHub for the PAX course. I've explained in the previous video how to clone the Git repository that is stored on GitHub. But using the indications I gave in the last video, you can only read, you can only update from upstream. You cannot contribute to the repository upstream. Now, if you want to contribute, so if you want that your modification, your experiments you do with my examples, you want them to become part of the examples, which is possible. I will explain you how. You have first, however, to fork the repository on GitHub. So you have to do something different. You have to create a sort of copy of my repository on GitHub first. So you do that by, again, you search PAX. You go PAX courses again, but now you do something different. You do a fork. So you fork. If you see what's written there, maybe it's too small, I'll read it for you. Fork your own copy of PAX course PAX to your account. So after you do that, you have to wait a little bit. You have a nice picture on the screen. Okay. Now you have your own copy of PAX course on GitHub. So you see everything looks the same, but this is not anymore the original one. This is Luca Formaggia PAX. Luca Formaggia is another user, is not my normal user, it's just a dummy user that I've created for this example. So these will be you, okay? Mario Rossi or Maria Verdi, whatever it is, okay? Or anyway, the name you have chosen when you created the account on GitHub. Okay, now you repeat the exercise, but now you clone your own upstream. Okay? Now, the first thing I have to do is to remove the one I created for the last example. Sorry. I have to make everything clean. Now in this directory there is nothing. Clear, okay? And now I do git clone. All looks as before. It's a bit slower than before. I don't know for which reason. It's taking a while. Well, now this repository is connected to your upstream repository on Git. So here you can do push and pull. But of course, when you pull and push from this repository, you are not pushing and pulling from the main, the real upstream repository, the one that I own. You are pulling and pushing from your copy. Okay, but you say, how can I keep update with the upstream? If I make a modification and I put it in my repository, how can you update this copy of my repository with my modifications? Well, there are different ways to do it. The first thing, probably the easiest one, is to work on your local repository by creating a second remote. That is by creating a second repository to which this repository is connected. If I do git remote -v, you see that now this repository is connected to pax.git, to the repository pax.git of Luca Formaggia, that dummy account that I've created. That is, in your case, it will be connected to your repository. And you can do a fetch, that is a pull, and a push. Now you want to add another remote, the remote that corresponds to Pax. Okay, so now you have to go again, since I don't remember by heart the address of Pax. We have to go back. Sorry, we have to go to the home here where there is this little cat. Pax, and going Pax course Pax, that is the real upstream, the one you have forked from. So you have forked from this one. Now you get the address, and here in the home directory of your repository, you just do git remote add. I think you can give a name. So since I don't remember when you have to give the name, okay, so git remote add. You can give a name, whatever name you want. Call it upstream, so that you remember that is the repository from which you have forked originally, and but you can give any name you want. Now, if I do git remote -v, you see that I have two remotes. One is origin, that is the default name given from the repository you have cloned from. So you have cloned from these, Luca Formaggia Pax.git, and this is the origin. You can change the name, you can change all names you want. And but you have another remote that is called upstream. Okay? Now, if I want to update from upstream, I just do git pull upstream. Okay? Since the upstream has more than one branch, you need to actually say git pull upstream master. Okay? Good. It will tell you that upstream everything is already up to date because we have done nothing. Okay? So if instead you want to pull from your own repository, well, you just have to do git pull. Okay? Because by default it uses origin and the branches you are in, so the master branch. While instead, when you pull from a stream, you have to tell him also that you want the master branch, because it doesn't know which branch you want to pull from. Okay, now, but you can also push. You can push on your own repository. You cannot push on the upstream remote, because the upstream remote is controlled by me. You cannot just push. But let's suppose that you have made some modifications, some nice modification. Now I'm making a stupid modification, but just because I just want to show you an example. I open the README file and I make some modification. I don't know what modification can I make. The software requires C++ compiler. Well, indeed, I just add a line. Okay, I just add two empty lines because really I don't know what to modify. So now I just load the file. I do git. Well, I can just do git commit -a -m a stupid change. Stupid change is just the message for the commit. I remember git commit all the files that have been added or modified. Okay, so not the new files that are not under git, but readme was already under git. I just modified it, so I can commit just by using this line. Okay, or you can use whatever graphical interface, git cola, whatever you want. Okay, but the important thing, you do the commit. So now if I do git k, I may see that master is ahead both remote's origin master and remote's upstream master. I have a commit that is ahead of the two repositories. Okay? Now I can do git push. If I do git push, I will push on the repository Luca format. I mean, the repository I have is under control of the user, not the upstream. Okay, git push will push on origin, not on upstream. Okay, it asks me the username. And the password. If you use SSH, one big advantage, you don't have to put username and password every time. So this is another advantage of using the SSH protocol instead of HTTPS. Now I need to remember the password. Okay, good. Now, if I go now into these, into my account, and now I go, however, on my repository. So let's go here, your profile, and let's go to my, you see, Pax, forked from Pax course Pax. This is my copy of the repository. Now, if I look here, you see I have a new commit. Latest commit is a stupid change. So I have committed a stupid change on this repository. But it is on my copy. It is not on the original. Is on origin, is on the repository I'm controlling, is not the repository the teacher of the course, that is still me in this case, controls. Okay? So you can do whatever you want. This is your copy of the repository. You can pull and push. You can do all the modification you want. But it may happen that some modifications are quite interesting and you want to propose them to me. You have made a modification to, I don't know, the nonlinear solver, or to the one of the examples that makes that example better, or you have tried another example that you think that it is nice and you want to propose it to me. Well, it's very simple. What you have to do is to do a pull request. Okay, so let's suppose that this stupid change is not so stupid and you want it to propose to me to be integrated in the upstream. Okay, you just do new pull request, see if it works, and then you just say create pull request. You have to write a message that may be different from the commit message. And you create the pull request. Good. Now, what happens? Well, what happens is that if now I log in with my real account and I look at the upstream repository, I will find that there is a pull request. I can examine it. I can see if the changes proposed there are really useful. If I think that they are useful, I will integrate them into the main repository. Of course, if you collaborate in making the repository better, I will take that into account in the final mark. So I encourage you not just to look at the example, but to better them and to propose the modification to me. But do that using the GitHub interface, so I will find the pull request, I can examine them, and I can eventually integrate or not into the main repository. Thank you.